The Sims 4 is home to a huge, wonderful modding community. The game most certainly would not be what it is today without mods, and most mods are family friendly, but some of the popular ones aren't. Adult mods are the cornerstone for The Sims 4, and mods like Wicked Whims, for example, certainly contribute to its success. And then there's the violence mods like Extreme Violence or the Baby Barbecue mod, which are lights. I was gonna say light-hearted, but barbecuing a baby is not that light-hearted, is it really? I guess it's just more of a darker, absurd way to play The Sims 4 that doesn't cross the line, but it's still a bit weird. Although some of these age-restricted mods may be a little bit weird, they are certainly not harmful. Most of the adult mods out there are perfectly fine, and using mods like Wicked Whims is not going to get you banned. But from doing some research for today's video, there is a very hidden, disturbing side of the Sims 4 modding world that we're going to go into. The world of banned and taboo Sims 4 mods. Usually my videos are quite unserious, to be honest this one is as well, but we do touch on some subjects that you might be uncomfortable with as a pre-warning. I'd also like to clarify from the start, EA does ban users of mods that are in direct violation of their terms of service, so it is something that they do know about, and it is something that they do take seriously. Also, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to be naming certain mod names in this video because I don't want to draw any attention to them. Romantic mods have always been popular for The Sims. I remember back in The Sims 2 days, I discovered a mod that's basically kind of like Wicked Whims, but for The Sims 2. I was too scared to download it, of course. Woohoo mods are not a bad thing. I think they're fun. In fact, I found out that there's a whole category on the hub that's like dedicated to Sims 4 Wicked Whims animations, which I think is so funny. Sex mods as well as optional animations for these mods are perfectly fine for those who are over the age of 18. They will not get you banned, but there is a darker side to these kinds of mods, which unfortunately involve things like SAing, woohoo animations for younger Sims or even animals. There was a controversy, I think, a couple of years ago, and EA did release a statement on it, and as I said before, they do deal with people who use these kinds of mods and permanently ban them from The Sims 4, thank God. And just to reiterate again, sex mods, adult mods for The Sims 4 are perfectly fine. What the issue is when other more malicious people come along and use these mods to create something that they really shouldn't be creating. Just like how knives are fine and ethical when you use them to cut food, but when you use them for other purposes, they're not ethical, and that's not the fault of the manufacturers of the knives, it's the fault of the people who use them. So the same could be said for these kinds of mods as well. Unfortunately, the world does have quite a few horrid people who do horrid things. I guess The Sims 4 just being like an open life simulator game, maybe it just happens to attract the kinds of people who want to experiment with certain things they shouldn't be doing. It's like when I was doing some research for this video, I came across a mod which was like a kidnapping mod, which on paper is just a bit of I was gonna say it's a bit of fun. You know, the kind of things that like Simmers do and say is like so easy to take out of context. I'm saying kidnapping's fun, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a problematic mod, okay? It's fine. But when I looked at the comments for the mod, there was a comment that said, I quote, "Is there an option to have with the person you kidnapped?" And here's the thing, it's not always the mods that are the issue, it's the people who are accessing these mods and how they can just cross the line. Simmers have always been a bit weird. All of us have memories of drowning our Sims in pools and burning them to death and being incredibly sadistic. And even with mods like the Extreme Violence mod for The Sims 4, which takes it way further. Honestly, like, this kind of stuff I think is hilarious, but there is a line which most normal people have no desire to cross. And I think people who attempt to download certain mods involving things like animals and younger life stages are just as bad as the people who create them, quite frankly. But this video isn't just about banned mods, it's also about mods which which are not banned, perfectly fine to use, but do have some features which I personally disagree with. There have been certain mods which I've played with before for YouTube, and I've come across features and I thought like, is that really in there? For example, there is a violent interactions mod. It does come with interactions to harm yourself, including grievous harm, and when you attempt to use these interactions with the mod, it comes up with a link which is like kind of like a mental health warning, and it comes with a link to a Discord page called We Care About You, acting as a safe space to talk about issues. And although the intentions here may be pure, those who are going through mental health issues require professional support. A random Discord chat room is not an appropriate space for that. I have a lot of respect for the creator of this mod. I think they're a very talented modder, and this is just a small criticism that I personally don't think that self-harm should be included in this mod. There are also other mods that do more explicitly refer to it in an even worse way, but these mods are not really that popular. There's also another popular mod for The Sims 4 that's a woohoo mod, very NSFW, and the mod honestly comes with some quite I've never played with it, so I don't know. I was just reading the description, but it looks like it came with some really fantastic features, but it does come with a trafficking feature, and that's why I personally chose not to download the mod and play it for a YouTube video, because that's insane in my opinion. The fact that like this, or like the mod itself is genuinely like, it doesn't look bad. It's just like this one feature that just kind of ruins it for me and makes it pretty problematic. I personally don't think a feature where you can sell a sim in non-consensual ways is appropriate at all. And I'm not talking about Wicked Whims, I'm talking about something else. And in general, I feel the same way about other random mods and features, like certain pregnancy mods coming with miscarriages. Something else that rarely ever gets spoken about is ARFID custom content and mods. And for those of you who don't know what ARFID means, it stands for Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder. I found one mod in doing my research, which was an ED mod, and it came with I think it had over 100,000 downloads. I also came across an anorexia mod, which includes whims to over-exercise, as well as things like decreased hunger decay. Even CC, like CC overlay, skin overlays, which have like the really defined collarbones, and thigh gap mods for Cass, or any kind of mod that promotes being unnaturally skinny in a way that's clearly not comedic, I think is problematic. And I say not comedic because I've used mods before which change your body proportions and it looks utterly ridiculous and crazy. What I'm referring to here is the body slider mods that facilitate disordered behavior, which I think are the issue. Your opinions may be different to mine, and that's perfectly fine. We're all allowed to have different opinions and not get mad at each other. You don't even have to disagree. You don't even have to take it that far. And if you do disagree, you're allowed to do so in a way that doesn't involve raging at them online. We are all allowed to think differently without having the urge to yell at each other in some random internet forum because we disagree on something that's just kind of trivial about video game. As I said before, I think Sims 4 modders do a fantastic job at keeping this game alive, and adult mods and some of the more taboo or violent mods definitely contribute to that in a really positive way. I just wanted to talk about a very small minority of certain mods that do take it too far objectively, such as the ban mods, but also more subjectively referring to the mods that I personally disagree with but don't get banned, and that's fine. I do have a couple of videos here. One is for the extreme violence mod, which I think is bloody hilarious, by the way, and also Wicked Whims. Thank you very much for watching today's video, guys. I will see you in the next one.